Okay, good to have you join us today on Youth Assembly. It is the 22nd day of December 2020. My name is Sylvia Ishebe. How is the preparation going? 3 days to Christmas. What are you buying? Have you bought rice yet? What is the price of rice? Like, I have all those questions to ask you pertaining to rice. But why do I want to ask you that? Because the effect of border reopening on the Nigerian economy is our focus today on this edition of Youth Assembly. And I have with me Mr. Tunde Kelani. He is an entrepreneur amongst so many things. Welcome, Mr. Tunde.
Good morning. Thank you so much, Sylvia. It's good to be
Uh,
here.
Thank you. So, have you bought rice?
I don't know that. I priced way back. So
Okay, so last week the federal government announced the reopening of some land borders in the country after almost 1 year of closing the borders to curb the smuggling of arms and ammunition, as well as illegal importation, in order to boost local production. Now, some experts and Nigerians have expressed their relief over the decision of the government to reopen the borders, as they have blamed the rise in inflation and the worsening condition of our economy on the closure of the borders amid the coronavirus pandemic. So, will the reopening of the borders lead to a boost in our economic fortunes? That's a question we intend to answer. So, over to you, Mr. Tunde. How did you feel when you heard about the reopening of some land borders?
yeah, definitely, it's great news. It's a good end of year gift from the government
Mhm.
because we feel definitely this will definitely bring a lot of stability into prices of things that we buy. Um, Basically, yeah, it will bring a lot of stability. A lot of people are happy. Personally, I'm so happy because I'm in that business. I'm in the business of procurement and logistics. So I understand the effects of the border closure. And then since I'm not one of the big names yet, which because the government gave some few persons the ability to bring in goods, through the land border, irrespective of even though we knew that the border was closed. So basically, it's just the opening up of border closure at this time. It's actually a good one. Also considering the fact that we've gone through a whole lot of things this year, from COVID to recession to every other thing, and this is happening. I think it's a good one. I think it's a good.
But what do you think? What do you think informed the decision of the government to open the borders at this time?
Um, Personally, I feel that it's, of course, there were, we had Nigeria plunged into recession. We had cost of goods very high, you understand, and looking at the whole economic challenges we've had this year as a country, I think
Mhm.
it's just wise for them to open the border, right? Considering the fact that I feel the border closure wasn't planned properly and we had to suffer for it. I feel this, looking at what is happening now, and also looking at the fact that we don't even know what is coming up, because now we're hearing of another second phase of COVID. We don't even know
Yeah.
what is coming up. So it's just appropriate and normal for any government to say that, see, guys, we need to do this because so as to reduce, cost of goods, to, just to bring balance, right? So I just think it's just normal that they do that, basically.
But placing the ban on certain goods, like we have some goods that can be imported, rice, for instance. That's why I asked you earlier if you've bought rice and how much is it. So, do you think placing a ban on these goods would boost local production and produce the desired results the government wants to
So,
achieve?
so, so the question is, since the border closure, has it boosted local production?
Has it, from your opinion?
There are still a lot of smuggled rice in the country.
Hmm.
That's the reality. There's still, because once you close border, smuggling will definitely skyrocket, right? These are guys who pay different borders before they eventually come into Nigeria. When they come into Nigeria, they go through the illegal route, right? Since we have our security system not strong enough, I feel what the government is supposed to do is to encourage local production by providing proper subsidy for the rice industry. right? Ensure, bring in technology control, bring in a whole lot of, things that will enhance that production, that production space. So I really do not think that, banning rice from coming to the country will really make any significant impact, knowing fully well that smuggled rice will still come into the country. And more so, there's really the number, or the what we produce at the moment is not even enough
Yeah.
for us. So, I mean, there's a whole lot of issues around this. So I feel the most important thing is we increase the capacity in that space, provide subsidy. This is where I think the government should put in more subsidy, because food is one of the basic of life, and most Nigerians eat rice. Rice is like the commonest food,
Yes,
right,
it is.
in the country. So there should be proper capacity enhancement and development in that space, and also ensure that our local rice farmers can compete globally. When the cost of production is low, people will also take our own rice, and so you will see a lot of, because most of this thing come from Republic of Benin. Now you
Mm-hmm.
see a whole lot of Benin buying our own rice and pushing to other African countries. That means that our rice are now competing globally. I think that should be the next phase. That should be where we're standing right now. Not necessarily, because there's no point if a bag of rice is sold for, let's say, 20,000 naira, and locally we're selling for 18,000 naira, and it's competing globally. It's almost same growing, same.
This price you're calling is not realistic. We don't
Of
even
course,
have that price at all. We're seeing
yeah,
like 32,000,
yeah.
33 some places. So,
I'll just give you an example. So,
okay.
basically, so I think that is what the government need to focus on. How do you provide subsidy for these guys? How do we train them to increase production? How do we make them compete globally? And in actual sense, it will even help the FTA agreement that, I mean, is coming in place by January, because I was reading through a study and I realized that it is only Morocco and South Africa that is ready, export ready, right? Every other country in Africa are just there. So it will even help us, even if it's just rice we are pushing out, to say, oh, we now have rice farmers, but they can compete globally. I mean, people in South Africa, people in Ghana would rather buy our own rice than buying rice from Thailand. So I just think this is where the government needs to put in more focus.
All right. So, in spite of the reopening of the border, and the ban on importation of rice and the 25 other items, the purpose for which the closing of the border in the first place was embarked upon by the federal government, do you think the aim was actually achieved?
I honestly don't think so, because
Why?
we still had proliferation of arms. There were a whole lot of that. I mean, over the years we had. I mean, this last we had a lot of them. We had. I mean, there was this video that went viral of some persons bringing in arms from Nigeria Republic. So I really do not think so, and I think maybe that was why they decided to reopen it back, because it was not yielding results. Of course, we had. I mean, our farmers. Some persons benefited from it greatly, and I wouldn't even say our farmers benefited. It was just some set of people who benefited from it, and it really doesn't make any economic sense, right? For you to empower one, two, three, four, five people, and then leave the rest, right? Because the truth is, are we eating foreign rice today? Truth be told, yeah.
Yes, people are. When you go to the market, they'll tell you, is it foreign or local? And you say,
You
you're
get,
wondering,
you get.
you're totally
And
foreign.
do you understand? And in fact, I have some government officials or government agencies who shared foreign rice. Do you get? I mean, we've seen some of them from different ministry who, the end of the year package and all of those things.
Yes.
So the reality is, not really. It really hasn't. Of course, it just boosted. There were a lot of, just like the normal Nigerian, there were a lot of buzz around it, but deep
Mm.
down there was really no effect. So I feel there need to be, if you want to focus on rice, which is a good thing, if the government want to focus on rice production, I feel the whole government need to come down to that space, provide proper capacity, help these guys, even if it's to send some of these guys for a 6 month training in Thailand. Focus on this thing for the next 6 months. Let's understudy them. Countries do these things. Bring them back to the country. I mean, there was a time Malaysia sent some guys to come and study how to do our palm oil and all of that.
Oh,
So
yeah,
you
one of the largest importers or exporters of palm oil.
exactly let them study this thing and ensure that provide proper subsidy, bring in technical expertise, even if it's bringing consultant from Thailand or from anywhere around the country where they have good rice production. Bring them in, work with the farmers, and ensure that this thing can compete globally. The world is a computer village right now. There's no point building something for your citizens. The reality is, I won't be if I'm used to foreign rice. You don't expect me to just automatically change to local rice. Some of these local rice, yeah, we have some that are good. We also have a lot of them that are bad. Right? We also have a lot of them that are bad. When you put it in water, when you try to cook it, the way it comes out is not.
Yes, those ones we call it tuwo,
Yeah.
rice for tuwo or something.
So,
So
so you understand.
yeah,
So these are
yeah.
many more. So I really do not think that that aim was achieved. I felt that there were not proper control in place. There were not. It was just done without. I feel it was done without proper thinking or proper analysis. Because I felt if there had been proper study before that decision was made, you are putting a lot of buffers in place to help
So
people.
yeah.
You
So
get
some economic experts partly also blamed the inflation rates and the worsening economic condition of Nigeria on the closure. So you said it didn't have any effect or it had little effect. So what's your perspective on this
mild. Of course,
mild effect?
some people
Also,
benefited greatly. So it was
mm,
just like empowering more people. The rich, I think it's just the normal norms in Nigeria. The rich always getting richer over everything. So I mean that happened, right? We
so
saw
would you blame the closure? Would you blame the closure on the closure of the borders on the situation we found ourselves in, the inflation rate and the
yeah, it was but yeah, that's the reason.
okay?
Nothing, yeah, that's the reason. It was just um that's the honest truth. There's no buttering it. We don't need to butter that. That's the honest truth. Because you
So
can't keep when I can't afford food, I can't afford to buy food. Of course, I mean I can't. My purchasing power is low. Of course,
mhm.
so many things will not. I mean, it will definitely increase inflation, and because we had the number of rice, sorry, the rice that we are producing is not enough for Nigerians. We need to tell
Yeah.
ourselves the truth. So demand is simply higher than supply, and it will definitely increase price, right? So I mean, such a small
So
thing.
so moving forward, what impact do you expect the opening of the borders to have on the economy now?
Okay, I believe, of course, it will bring price stability, right?
Okay.
I just still feel bad for our local rice farmers, right?
Why do you say so?
Because there's okay. More this of we can't totally say that rice will not come into this country. Even when it was closed, it was coming in. Now it's open, and they now say, "Oh, we are going to ban rice as some other food item." So, of course, it will definitely affect them, right? In a way. So I still feel that there will be price stability, and also it's also good for diplomacy. I mean, it just does make sense that we are signing the AFCTA agreement in by January, and then we do this so that I mean the whole world can see that Nigeria is open for business. So diplomatically, it also does make a lot of sense for that to do.
So another reason the government decided to close the border was the issue of smuggling of weapons and illegal importation. Of course, we've dwelt on that. But now the smuggling of weapons. Now that the borders are open, what do you think the government should do to ensure that the borders are protected and Nigerians are safe from this kind of smuggling, weapon smuggling into the country?
The closing of border never stopped weapon proliferation. It never did. We must. I mean, see,
So
we need to.
now that it's open, what is going to happen? What do you expect? What safety measures or safe measures should the government take to make sure that this is checked in the country?
It's a systemic issue. It's a very fundamental issue, and it's not about whether you close border or not. It is the fact that we have a very porous border. Southwest alone has over 100 openings to Benin, the Republic of Benin, right? Same way too in the south, south, yeah, right. Now
Mm-hmm.
the reality is we have a very porous and weak border. We also have a security force too, as the custom. We also have loads of people who are who I mean who takes bribe,
Mm.
right? So all of these things. So that's why I say it's a systemic issue, and that was why I was saying that the border closure really didn't make sense as at the time they did it, because you ought to have treated the foundation first before you bring in any policy, right? There's a foundation that needs to have been treated. The issue of border porosity, what should we do around this, right? The issue of things that come into the country. Do we have a monitoring team that monitors everything that comes into the country, right? The issue of multiple taxation. These are some of the things that happen. The issue of documentation, right? There are no proper documentations. So I mean, there's a whole lot. And I was listening to an interview of even during the border closure of how they move in cars. Example from
Yeah.
Benin Republic. So they drive all the way from Benin Republic, go through Niger, then come in through Sokoto into the country. So, especially why? Because police is in the southwest and in the south and in the southeast, but in the north, it's a bit. It's not as hard as those places. So they drive into Niger border, and the guy was saying that I mean when they were checking, they saw 2,000 cars right in their
Mm.
front move into the country. 2,000
Wow.
cars. Yeah, it was. I think it was an interview on either TBC or something. Do you understand? So it never stopped these things. We will still have weapon proliferation until we are able to control our borders, until we are able to properly structure our policing system, right?
Is that how best we will be able to deal with the border porosity? Do you think? What do you suggest can be done to
So,
tackle?
from my own suggestion, there needs to be very simple. There needs to be first of all there needs to be proper policing structure. We need to
Okay.
have we need to we need to be able to ensure that the guy policing our borders are not guys that will collect bribes, are not guys that will allow illegal stuff to come into the country, right? And if you have to look very critical, if you have to look very well, it's part of the mandate of the whole NSAS movement, saying that see guys, you need to pay these guys well so that they can do their job. You need to be able to give them what they need so they won't look outside. Even though I doubt that would even make any effect though. But at least there needs to be proper structuring. There needs to be closure. There needs to be proper mapping of all this opening across the country. It's a country, it's a geographical location. We need to map the whole of the country and see all those closures. Sorry, all those openings and find a way of blocking those openings. Right? So that there won't be infiltration from external forces. So I think, of course, these are things that can even be done once you map it technologically. I'm highly technologically savvy. There are ways you can map your security border system and then you monitor it even remotely. Right? There are ways you can do these things. Most countries, a lot of countries are doing it in Singapore and co. And the funniest thing, most of these things are even done by Nigerians. I have a Nigerian guy, Koniku, is the CEO of Koniku. And that's something that he's doing for a country like Singapore, for a country like South Africa. So these are
So
things
you
that are done
suggest
by Nigerians.
the government liaises with private individuals in the sector?
Yeah, exactly. Do you understand? There are technology infrastructure that can monitor this and once it is mapped. and it sense. I mean, you can practically check this thing out. So these are things that can be done, but the reality is we need first of all need to have a willing government and a willing um, policing system. So okay, we are willing to check this to help us cope, these challenges that we face.
Okay, like the example you gave earlier of about 2,000 cars coming into the
Yeah,
country,
yeah,
showing the porosity of our borders. But
yeah.
also, for the border closure, Nigeria was somewhat like a dumping ground for substandard goods from other West African countries. Well, so what can Nigeria do to ensure that it's not business as usual? Now that some of the borders are open.
So I think I said in one of my statements, we need to have a proper monitoring control.
Okay.
Um, Before now, we had an agreement with neighboring countries, ECOWAS, saying, "Oh, this is the for everything you're bringing into the country, there's a percentage that must be yours, and there's a percentage that must be something you can bring in from outside your own country." So we have an agreement. I don't know the context of that, but I know there's an agreement, right? There needs to be proper monitor, and this I don't think it's a custom thing. It should be something that is done in partnership with custom, maybe an agency that monitors everything that comes into the country and ensures that what we have signed is what they are bringing in, right? So I really think so that you don't just dump in stuff. And then that is where also other agencies like SON and all and co come into the same thing. So that's why I said it is not just a custom standalone job. There are a lot of agencies that need to come together to check this thing and ensure that whatever you're bringing in meets, the standard that we have set for ourselves,
Mm.
right? And then the second thing that I also have that I also wanted to say that would probably might even stop, this thing is we see a lot of goods coming in from Benin Republic. Why Benin Republic? Why would they prefer Benin Republic? Why would they do Lagos ports? Right.
Mm.
And these are questions that we need to ask ourselves. Why do I need them to bring in rice or all the cars and some of the other things from Benin Republic? Why do they bring them from Lagos ports? So these are things that need to, and of course, every Tom, Dick, and Harry knows that the unnecessary queue time, queuing up at the Lagos ports, and a lot of multiple taxation and a whole lot of things, and the analog system that they use, is affecting. So they prefer to go through Benin Republic routes, right, to bring in stuff. So these are things that need to be solved. That okay, instead of so as to reduce what is even coming in from Benin Republic, because that's like the major issue. Benin Republic, Cameroon, Niger. Those are like the major issues. So as to just reduce what is coming in from that angle, and then if it's coming in from the Lagos spot, it can be properly monitored because there are already systems in place, right, to monitor these things. So I think these are things that the government needs to, work on. Thank you.
All right. So before we go, if I were to take a poll now, like and say between local rights and foreign rights, which one would you buy? You're smiling. Let me start with you. Which one would you buy? Local rights and foreign rights. Choose one. Which one would it be?
If I see local rights that is competitively good, I mean better than foreign rights, there's no point buying foreign rights. Why would I want to? So local rights, I'll go for local.
You know, I've actually bought
I have
local
local rights.
rights and I felt good buying it. It was so nice. I couldn't believe that this was actually
Yeah, yeah,
made in
yeah. I
Nigeria.
have one like that. I bought one too in Kaduna, and it was so nice. And the only challenge we had was at every point in time when I asked the guy to send it to me, he doesn't have the goods have been sold off. So he really can't meet up with the demand, basically. I have a guy like that in Kaduna that I buy from. It's just that it's not like most times when you ask him, it's either he's sold off and he's trying to in production at the moment, blah blah. Of course, I can't wait for a production time. I need to eat, so I just go out and buy my foreign rice. Right.
Okay.
So those are the things that I was considered. Of course, if I see very good local rice, I would definitely buy local rice.
Sure. So, but so many Nigerians are still keen on, oh, we want imported rice. I want to consume imported rice. But do you think the reopening of the border will affect the patronage of local rice? and other locally made products. You know, you mentioned
I
earlier
think it,
about how you pity farmers. Now, let's go into details. Do you think it will affect the way people purchase local rice and locally made products now that the borders are
yeah, I
open?
think it will. I
Oh,
think it will actually. I think it will. Yeah.
okay. All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Tunde Kelani. Okay, so thank you for doing this. You're an entrepreneur. He is an entrepreneur, and he has spoken so well as we have looked at the effect of the reopening of the borders on the Nigerian economy. So please share this video and, of course, comment and tell us what you think about the effects, what effect it will have on the Nigerian economy. We would like to know that. Remember to follow us on all our social media platforms. You can see it scrolling on the button screen on at Click Niger One. On Instagram, we're at Click Niger, and of course on Facebook, we're at Click Niger. My name is Sylvia Ishewe. This show was produced by Ihoma UKJ. We'll be back tomorrow for another interesting edition of Youth Assembly. In fact, it's our Christmas edition, so don't even miss it. Okay? I hope you have a fantastic day. And please continue to listen to us on www.clickniger.net. Have a fun day, Mr. Tunde. I wish you the best
Thank
of
you
success.
so much.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Bye.